We want to welcome you again to another episode of 1x1. I'm Rob.
I'm Sue.
And we are the Parkers.
Welcome back, everyone.
So today, our non-sponsor sponsor is the Every Dollar app. The Every Dollar app. Tell us a little bit about the Every Dollar app.
It's like my worst nightmare. It's an app called Every Dollar. It is, I don't even know who it's by. Is it by Dave Ramsey?
Yeah, by Dave Ramsey.
It's by Dave Ramsey. And it's basically you create a budget, and every time you spend any money, you input it.
Yes. You plan the budget, you put it in, and it keeps you accountable. And so we're going to get back. We're going to get to that in the future of this podcast, why we love that app so much. It's a love-hate relationship, correct?
Correct.
A love-hate relationship. So we want to welcome you again to 1x1. And today our topic is life planning. Do you like life planning?
So when we talk about life planning, it overwhelms me. I feel extremely like strangled because I don't like to plan my life because I feel like every time you plan, things don't go as planned. But you are a really big life planner guy.
Okay. So when we're talking about life planning, we're not talking about life planning like looking like the next 40 years because I am way too ADD. We're talking about life planning looking at the upcoming year. Like last week we said we were going to introduce this to share with people what we do. And so we really want to help you dream about 2022. So we met a couple named Dave and Nancy Frutel. Tell us a little bit about Dave and Nancy.
They were quite a bit older than us. They had kids that were probably our age or a little bit older.
Yep.
And they really took to us in kind of in a mentoring role. They came alongside us. They saw a young couple. This was years ago. This was probably 2004. And they just kind of invested in us and kind of gave us some great mentoring.
Yeah. And this was a tool they gave to me, Dave gave to me, that we've implemented as a couple. I've had the opportunity to share this with businesses and other organizations. And so it's something that we really wanted to start 2022 off as a couple doing this together and then reintroducing it to our children once again, because we've done this with our kids in the past. So I got together with Dave one time and he said, Rob, all I want you to do is take this piece of paper. And he handed me a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper. And I thought he was going to do like a magic trick or something like that. I'm like, all right, now we're getting a little bit bizarre. And he said, Rob, every year I help my employees dream about the year. And he says, I really use this as an opportunity to let them know the personal side of Dave Frutel. Because Dave was the vice president of Trane Air Conditioning Companies, the largest air conditioning company in the world. And so people always saw the business side of him, and he wanted the people to see the personal side of him. And so he gave me this piece of paper, and he said, in each section, because when you look at this, there are 7 different sections. All I want you to do is write down 3 to 5 things that you want to see happen in these different sections. And we're going to walk through the sections together. And so I'm like, all right, Dave, you're getting a little spooky. And the first time I share this with Sue, she's like, here we go. It's another Rob thing. Tell us a little bit about that.
When he first presented it to me, I was a young mom, small kids, and he's like telling me to make this like life goal plan thing and read it every day. I was like, I don't even have time to like take a shower by myself, but I really appreciate it because it does make you really look at the future and your daily, your weekly, your monthly with different lenses.
Okay, good. Are you excited about today?
I'm excited. I'm excited.
So in the first section, all it says is quotes.
I think it's important though to reiterate what the goal is, to read it every day.
Yes,
right?
read it every day. People
that Rob has done this for businesses, for companies, put it somewhere where you're going to read it every day.
Yep.
Is it in, you said someone put it in a sock drawer once, or is it on your nightstand, or is it in your kitchen hanging up, or is it, I put mine in my Bible because I know I'm going to open it every day. So just different places where you're going to continually be looking over it every day.
Yep, good. And so he just started off just saying 3 to 5 in each of the different sections. And the first one, all it says is quotes. And he says, all I want you to do, Rob, is write down 3 to 5 quotes. And the quotes can be either Bible verses, a favorite quote from a movie, something that one of your favorite authors has said. It might even be a word. And so for Sue, I know that you have a verse for 2022. What is that verse for this year?
So every year I do a different Bible verse. It's kind of like my life verse.
For the year.
That's safe to say, for the year. Yeah. So this year it's Colossians 1:11, and it says, "We also pray that you will be strengthened with all his glorious power, so you will have all the endurance and patience you need. May you be filled with joy."
Good. And so all she would do is write down that one, and then she would say, okay, what are 2 to 4 other different quotes? What's one? I know you have like a favorite poet that you write down every year. It's one of those that no matter what you do, it's on your piece of paper.
So it has
no
to do
matter
with
what.
the medical profession, being a nurse, and it says, "You treat a disease, you win, you lose. You treat a person, I guarantee you'll always win." So that's always been kind of my medical one for the year.
Yep, good. And so really what it is, it's this idea of just those things that you want to value, whether it be a passage, whether it be a quote from something. Maybe it's a word. For me last year, I had the word restoration. There were certain things that I wanted God to restore. So I just said restoration. That was my word. A buddy of mine gave me they're called Craigisms. Craig Kunish has these things called Craigisms. And he said this one, I'm like, dude, that's really, really good. So one of his is, don't put expectations on other people that they are not capable of keeping. The only one who will be disappointed is you. I'm like, that's a good one. That might go on my life planning. And so all you want to do is write 3 to 5 different quotes. Again, Bible verse, whether it be from a movie, from a book, or even a word. And all you do is write it down. The next section is your daily schedule. What would your ideal day look like? Now, talk to us about stages of life, because this is different now than it was
right.
24
So I think
years
it's
ago.
important when you look at your ideal schedule. Of course, like, I'm like the perpetual love a snow day, right? Like, lay in bed. Well, actually, I don't really lay in bed long, but ideally to be able to not have to get up and get ready and proceed with the day. But you have to really look at your realistic goal, like where you're at for your life at the current time, whether you're working, whether you're not, whether you have small children, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you are going to bed later because you have adult children. So like for me right now, it looks a lot different than it did 15 years ago.
Okay.
Now I think it's safe to say that I get up at 5:45. I would love to get up a little bit earlier to get a workout in the morning, but realistically trying to figure that out with going to bed later. I get up, I have my quiet time, do the whole morning routine, get ready, go to work, get home in a decent time, make dinner, shower after being, at work all day, get lunches and stuff ready for the next day, go to a game, go to whatever we have to go to, get dinner out by 6,
Yep.
and then do whatever has to be done, maybe some laundry, definitely laundry, and then if we don't have anything that night, kind of be able to shut down by 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yep. Good. So I'm going to give you my ideal this past year. Now, I used to be an early bird. I used to be in the pool swimming by 5 a.m. That means I was up at 4:45. Things have changed, haven't they? Our kids have gotten older. Yep. They go to bed later. So this past year, my ideal day was be doing my devotions by 6:15 a.m. Be up, be ready to do them. The idea of morning prep, helping Sue with morning prep from 6:45 to 7:30, making sure all the morning stuff was done. The idea of being at my office by 8, and from 8 to 12, it was a real time of study, of development of what was going on at the church. The idea of 12 till 4 was then all admin stuff. That was my dream day. And then being home at a certain time for dinner. And then the idea would be is have family time with dinner from 6 to 9. And then from 9 to 10:30 have Rob and Sue time. Now my schedule is weird. I'm out sometimes 3 nights a week. And what I say in my daily schedule is I will not be out more than 3 nights a week. Now, crisis emergency, I'm going to have to be out. I also have in there is that my ideal week would be no more than 3 nights out a week and 1 date night a week, meaning that we would do takeout or go out to eat, but really have that focused time together. Any wisdom on that?
No, I think that's good. I mean, we talk about that a lot with our premarital counseling. Like, it's important to have that weekly date night. The last couple years have looked a little different. Our kids are getting older. We have more time together.
COVID,
quarantining,
every night was
right?
date
All
night.
that. Yeah. But I think now it's important to really be able, now that life's kind of got back to very busy schedules, I think it's important to carve out like a night a week.
Yep.
That's a couple plug, right?
Good. And then he said, just turn the page over. Again, write down your ideal week, your ideal day, your daily schedule, and look at it throughout the whole week. Like, what would that week look like? Again, this is not going to happen every single day, but if you can hit on that once a week for the next 3 months, and then in the second 3 months, you're hitting it 3 times a week, by next December, it's going to be so in your head and so ingrained that you are training yourself to really what you're looking at to say, I want to make this a reality. And there's going to be times that you're going to get frustrated, be like, I never hit it. But it's going to always be there, really convicting and churning in you to be able to hit that week, that day properly. All right, you turn it over. And the next thing is personal goals. So Sue and I do this in 2 different ways. We do our own personal life plans, and then we do one for us as a couple. Has this happened every year? No. But what we do see is when we do it every year, we really hit these goals together. So personal goals. Let's just talk personally, and then we'll talk about relational goals. So personal goals, 3 to 5. No more than 5, no less than 3. So what would a personal goal be for you for 2022?
So I noticed in 2021 that my heart has kind of been a little bit hardened to certain things, whether it's been social media or just this pandemic fatigue that a lot of people who are in it every day deal with. Mine would be to not lose the compassion in my heart that I have toward people.
Okay. And one of my personal goals would be read every day, whether it be read or listen to a book every single day. I usually have a list of how many books I want to read a year, go through a year. But if I can read or listen to a book every single day, I will knock out that goal. What's another personal goal?
Another one would be to be present at night. I think I've gotten in a really bad habit. We actually joke that the tables have turned quite a bit. Like, he was always working at night, or for years you had like stuff at night. You were getting your doctorate, and there was always like not shutting off. I don't shut off now. I'm always on technology. Mostly just work.
I'm the lonely husband.
He's a lonely husband.
I'm just a lonely husband.
But, to really be able to just shut it down. I do have to work at night. There are times I have to, but be able to say a certain time it's done, and then not go on social media and just kind of mindlessly look at all the Instagram posts for the day and what everyone's doing.
Because they're really significant people.
But there are times that's it becomes this mindless habit, right? It's a habit.
Yeah.
Just like this is a habit. The more you read it every day, the more likely you are to do it. That's what social media has become, because you're sick of thinking, so you just do mindless stuff.
Yep.
So that would be another personal goal.
Good. One of mine last year was the idea of self-awareness, learning to step back from situations in the moment. That was a big one for me last year. Self-awareness, learning to step back from situations in the moment. And I felt like that was one of the things that really came to fruition. Waiting till the next day to make a phone call, different things like that. What about a couple's goal? Like, what would be a goal for us as a couple?
I think to get away, continue our getaway. We try to get away 3 to 4 times a year, just the 2 of us. Once again, it's looked a little different this year, but I think that would be a good couple goal, would just be to get away 4 times this year.
Yep. And another one is this podcast. This is really good for us. It outside the sound stuff and the camera stuff and the light stuff that drive you a little crazy.
Or you film the whole thing and then the memory card's not there?
Yeah, that's a bad one. This is our 3rd take today.
But it wasn't a memory card. It was
mess ups.
Yeah.
My mess ups. It's my ADD, but you know what? I embrace my ADD.
Go with
my
it.
ADD makes me stronger.
Makes you who you are.
What are the 3 to 5 real personal goals? The next is work goals, really writing down work goals. Like, I think this is something that we forget to do at work. We just kind of plow through work. Actually doing this with my team right now, that I want them to give me so many goals that they have for 2022. And next week I will do an evaluation with each of them. So what are work goals? Like, give us a work goal as a school nurse, because, it's such an interesting job. What would a work goal be for you?
So there's different things I have to do. There's different reports. There's different, besides COVID. And COVID has really taken all my time up, right? So I want to get back into, I want to complete 6th, 7th, and 8th height, weights, and blood pressures by the end of January.
Okay.
And I can go on to the vision and hearing for the month of February. And then that's kind of my goal.
Okay, good. So really writing that down. Now, it sounds small, but I know in February in the years past, when we've talked about heights, weights, and hearing tests,
and scoliosis,
it's been very frustrating for you.
And visions.
So that's a big deal for you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a big work goal for me, a big work goal for me is to master what I do best. I'm 49 years old. I need to be at the place where I'm really focusing on those things that I do best. And so there are 3 things that I would say are kind of my wheelhouse. I want to give more time to those things to make them better. What's another work goal?
I think it goes with that whole heart issue that I had, is going back to really caring for my students with special needs. I have a lot of different diversity of needs this year. And unfortunately, it's been very difficult to do all the COVID stuff and that, but I really want to make sure that my focus is totally caring about their needs. So
good. Another big goal for me this year, work-wise, is to finish the building off, really finish the construction of the building. And that's a big part of what's next for this year. So that's a work goal, finishing off our facilities. Okay, so you just write down 3 to 5. What are the 3 to 5 work goals? I love watching my wife thrive professionally. I love it. And it actually brings my heart joy. I feel like the influence that God has given you in the community of Mahwah is more significant than I have in the community of Mahwah. I love it. I love when we go to restaurants, people are cheering your name, Sue, Sue, Sue.
Hardly, but
and or I remember one time we went into a bowling alley and 7 kids tackled you, and I loved it. It made my heart jump up and down. I want to see my wife thrive. Whatever she needs to do to thrive, I want to support her. So what are the 3 to 5 things professionally that you want to see happen? Next, and this is where it comes to the Every Dollar app, financial goals. Let's talk about last year's financial goals. What was a financial goal for us this past year?
So, really, ultimately, it was to get rid of all debt.
Yes.
Any debt we had. That was what it was.
Yeah.
That was our goal. And to put it into the app,
Yep.
right? That was that we were really going to be putting all of our every
dollar
we
penny.
spent, we put in.
Yeah. We had a big wake-up call where we just said, it's time. Last year I was 48, you were 46. We had kids when we were little, and
we weren't little, young. We were young.
Yeah, yes.
We had kids when we were
they
little.
Yes, we were young, they were little, and financially it's been tough. Working nonprofit, it's been tough, and we really needed to get some things right. And so this past year, we really got things right. We are out of debt, and we are moving forward. And so 1 was get out of debt. Number 2 was the whole idea of plugging in every dollar. And we had many conversations. In the beginning, I was getting frustrated with you.
Mm-hmm.
And by December, you were getting frustrated with me.
Mm-hmm.
So financially, what's a financial goal that you want to dream about? What's a financial dream that you have for us? What's a financial dream?
A second home.
Okay. Where?
In Vermont.
Is that my dream or your dream?
No, it's our dream. It's our dream
Are you
together.
sure?
Yes.
You kind of paused.
No. I mean it.
You
In
sure?
the mountains.
Okay. In the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That would be a fun financial dream. Another financial dream is if we didn't do the second home, I would love a camper for us. How do you feel about that?
It's got to have a bathroom and a shower and heat and air conditioning.
Okay. So what's a financial goal for yourself? Like what would something be like you're just like, wow, that'd be cool.
Well, I don't know if it'd be cool. I just feel like to only you really brought this to me this week was like grocery shopping. Like the prior week, you're like, you're buying the extras. And I'm like, cause it's on sale. But just, I have to rethink my training of having all 4 children home and go to the smaller, we're tinier now than we were in the house, and just really like make sure I'm not buying excess.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a personal thing.
So I'm going to give you 2. One is very selfless and one is very selfish. Becky and Pedro are moving this summer. Timeline's not done yet, but we want to be able to go away as a family together. Even if it's in the mountains, just really getting away, because family vacations are expensive. They're expensive.
There's a lot of us.
Yeah. Can I give a selfish goal?
Sure.
My Triumph motorcycle.
I knew you were going to say
I want
that.
my Triumph motorcycle.
I knew you were going to say
I
that.
want my Triumph motorcycle. And I know that's so selfish, but I actually wear Triumph shirts to speak into the future.
So next week we have to be sponsored, non-sponsored, sponsored by Triumph Motorcycle, and maybe they'll give
No, they're
you
not
one.
listening to us. They're not listening to us. So our 100 and something listeners, I don't think Triumph's one of them.
Never know.
So, okay. So
Dream big, boy.
What are your financial goals? 3 to 5. Maybe it's an investment. Maybe it's something that you want to do. But then write down your physical goals. Like, what are your real physical goals? And I know people hate this, but I do want to share this. Since we've gotten married and I had a spinal injury and I was a big boy, I was 305. I've kept off over the last 18 years. What would you say? How much weight? Do you know the number?
75?
95 pounds. 95 pounds, right? I had a spinal injury and I lost so much weight because of my neck. I had so much, it was about 90 pounds. And so the more weight that I carried, the more pain I was in. So that is always, so for me, one of my goals is to stay in a healthy weight window. I can give or take so many pounds, and I have that written down. What's a physical goal for you?
I think working out's been really hard for me this past year. It just, the timing, right? Like the timing. I work a lot of hours now, and I think that's been extremely disappointing that I haven't been able to. So that kind of went with my daily schedule of wanting to try and work out maybe in the mornings to fit it in, because by evening it's just done. So
okay. Another one is with my neck injury, I have a jaw injury. And so I really always want to keep my neck and my jaw top priority. How I work out, what I do. My one son said, hey, when was the last time you played basketball? In a long time, because I can't play in a basketball game or otherwise I'll get hurt. My friends love, some of our friends love going skiing. I'll never ski again with my spine. I just won't. I can't. I can go snowmobiling, I can ride motorcycles, but I can't ski. So what's another physical goal?
I think nutrition really, that
Good.
plays into that. It's, we were just talking this morning how we really have we were really good with our eating habits, like
Phenomenal.
for a long time. Phenomenal.
Yep.
And then for some reason, since the summer, maybe into the fall, I don't know if it's the busyness, but we have gotten in a bad place. So we are, the new year, we're really doing well, but I would love to keep on that of just healthy lifestyle. Yeah.
And I would say for me to you, to encourage you, I think nutrition over the last 3 years has been something that you have just grabbed a hold of and you have really mastered it. So I've been really proud of you for that. So what are 3 to 5 physical goals, real goals? What are things like you want to dream about, you want to see happen? Now let's talk about looking 3 to 5 years down the line. So again, and I joke about this, but this is a real reality in my life. I do have ADD, was never diagnosed except by you and by other people. And I love how your one friend said, as they watch the podcast, they actually see my ADD jump out.
Who is a professional, educational consultant.
Thanks. I was
has
diagnosed
her master's in
via
social work.
video.
She really was like, oh, it's very obvious. I'm like, thank you.
Yes, and I
You
recognize
actually
that.
were diagnosed as a child, though.
I was never diagnosed. That was another sibling, and we're not going to use names. I was never diagnosed. I grew up in the 80s and the early 90s. they did not do
Well,
those
your parents
things.
knew it though. Your parents,
No, they didn't.
They definitely talked about it.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
There's no way. Afterwards, 20 years
Afterwards,
later.
maybe
20
afterwards.
years later. So I only do 3 years. What are my 3 years dreams for personally, and then for us? You don't even know what my dreams are. I'm going to like probably start crying. Like, you have no idea. I never tell you what I write my dreams are for you.
And actually, you really don't.
I don't.
You don't tell me what
I don't.
they are.
I literally, out of all of the different sections, the first time we filled it, I called it quadrants, wrong word, section. I'm free to share with Sue, but there's one section when it comes to my own life planning, I don't want her to see, because I have dreams for Sue, Brandon, Becky, Ben, Luke, and I don't know if I told you this, Pedro made the list because he's my son-in-law. And when
I was like, wait, he made the list for us?
Yes,
No,
he made
yes, your list.
He made
yeah.
my list. He made my list. I want to see God do crazy things in our family's life. There's certain things I want to see happen, and I really write them down. 3-year dreams for each of them, and they're just literally 2 sentences. But then I write down my 3-year dreams for really my future, my work, the things I want to see accomplished. And one of my dreams, which just seems like it has not happened, and everything in me wanted to give up last week, is about to come to fruition. Something that I've been dreaming and praying about for years. 3 years ago, it was one of my dreams. And so it's amazing to watch. And so in 3 years from now, let's just talk about us. What would you love to see happen for us? What would a dream be for you and I?
I don't know if this
Let's
is
not
3
talk about our
years.
kids. Let's talk
Right,
about,
yeah, I don't know if this is
call
3
3
years.
So I'll be 52 and you'll be 50.
27.
20, 35.
No, but and this is what I've always written in this section, and I've shared this with him. We've talked about this. Like, we would love to own something like a bed and breakfast. You know, like we joked about it last year. We love like the Hallmark movies, like the season of that. We really love like that little utopia, little world. But we would love to, like, when we talk about having or owning a second home in Manchester, that would be like my kind of ideal, to be able to have some sort of bed and breakfast. It's not realistic in 3 years because we're not, going to be
moving.
empty nesters.
Yep.
We're not moving. But that is like almost like a 10-year goal, I would say, to be able to own something like that and just pour into people's lives. And I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
My biggest dream in 3 years is that we would be working together full time. Now, I know that would affect Ramapo Ridge, but I would love to be able to work with you every day, and I think we could pull it off. What's another goal in the next 3 years?
I think as we transition to different children being home and what that's going to look like, I think our time maybe in this home that we're at now might be coming to an end. So maybe moving.
Okay.
Like I said, doesn't mean far. Just maybe
far.
out of this house,
Yep.
because maybe we're not going to need this house in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So
Good. My goal is in the next 3 years, which is a real reality, is that we would take a sabbatical, and we would sabbatical in 2 different locations. We would spend a month in the mountains and a month at the beach, because the mountains are me, the beach is you. I would love for that for this 2 months.
I do love the mountains now, though.
I know, but I wouldn't want to travel the world, especially during COVID. I've just lost that. But really writing down dreams. What do you dream about? Like, it's so imperative. We run through life. And what I love about this, I love when Dave gave me this, and you can hear my voice cracking if you're listening. He says, watch, Rob. Watch what God does in the next 10, 20 years. And it's almost been 20 years since Dave gave me this. And I would say there's a lot of things on these sheets that I've written down that have not come true. But the ones that do, I see how God has used circumstances and character and people to align for his perfect plan. I love it. I love that one of my dreams was that one of our kids would go to their dream college, and they did. I love it. I love it. It's so awesome. So what Dave had said was, he said, once you work through this whole exercise, all I want you to do is fold it in half. Fold it in half. Just fold it in half and put it in a secret place that you go to every day. Your place. No one else's place. Your place. Something, a place where you go every single day where you can pick this up. So give us an example. You said it a little bit earlier.
It was on like my nightstand in a Bible.
Okay. A buddy of mine, Paul Scardufa, put it in his sock drawer. He was one of my Rotarian buddies, and he invited me at TD Bank to do this for his young leaders. And he stood up, and I didn't know this. He stood up in front of all the young leaders in our region for TD Bank, and he said, I keep it in my sock drawer because I know I put my socks on every single day. You know what I do? I put it on my iPad. I download it into a PDF because I'm on my iPad every day. I read my Bible every day on my iPad, and so then I could just jump right to this. And he said, all I want you to do is just read through it one time. Read through it one time and put it away. Don't think about it. Don't over process it. Just read it one time and see what happens. So give us one takeaway from doing this. We're almost done.
I think what's important with this to know is, and there's like, I'd mentioned this before, I think, but the more, repetition breeds a habit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the goal with this. It doesn't mean that, it's anything special that you wrote this down and you read it every day. But the more that you look at your physical goals or your personal or your work goals, the more it's going to be in the front of your mind and the more likely you are to complete it. There's definitely some scientific study that says that,
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things that we really want to help you. Like, this is a great tool individually and as a couple. And that's the whole goal of this whole podcast, is helping you.
And it's actually great for couples who are looking to get married.
Yes.
I think, as what are your goals? What about having children? What do you want 3, you want 1, you want 4? Those are some really good things to kind of look through, and not a tool to be something that you're going to disagree on, but a tool that you can work on together.
Yes.
Going through it.
Yep. So individually you do it, and then as a couple do it. And I love what you just said for couples about to get married. What a great exercise, knowing that during your engagement, everything is going to be so crazy.
Yep.
And so Holly and Steve, right? Holly and Steve, that's one of them. Zach and Alyssa, that's another couple that we're going to be working with, helping these couples really dream together. And so, yes, today we talked about life planning, dreaming. Dream a dream together. Dream another dream with me. Maybe that'll be the title. Dream another dream with me.
Much less overwhelming.
Much less overwhelming. So we want to thank you for joining us for this podcast. I do want to apologize. It seems like I dominated this one more than others.
But you're so good at this training. You're good at this. So
yeah, but I didn't want to overwhelm you.
So good.
But so we want to say thanks for joining us for 1 x 1. I'm Rob.
And I'm Sue.
And we're the Parkers.
Have a great week, everyone.